Live from Toronto, it is Sunday Night Live here on the Johnny Stumbles channel. Hopefully you can see and hear everything A-OK, and thank you for tuning in. I see a lot of people in the chat already. Billy T, Epic Nation HD, Lorraine McLean, Drew Costin, Whippidude, Epic Nation HD, Jennifer Gala, Rome with Sign, Boom Productions. Yeah, it's doing that thing where it's showing some people, it's not showing your full YouTube handle, I think. Crikey is here, Jollykins, Jeanette Morales, Gertej, Phuket Walk, Alicia Lewis. It's harder to read. I don't know why YouTube's doing this. I don't think it did this my last few live streams on the real channel, did it? Let me just... All right, so the audio's coming in good. Thanks for tuning in. I don't really have anything in particular planned tonight, so we're just going to kind of hang out, shoot the shit, do what we always do. Madano. $10, Johnny. Cheers, Johnny, on the CP24 article. Yeah, there was an article about me on CP24 as well as CTV News. They just put the same article on both. Yeah, it's been kind of a crazy day. I've had about 20 different friends I haven't spoken to in a long time reach out to me saying, hey, I saw you in this article, which was weird. Someone just sent me a picture of like their Apple news feed and that popped up in it. The Toronto Star did like a full page like feature on me with my picture and everything, and like nobody reached out. I've been on Blog TO a bunch of times. No one said anything, but this article, I guess, got out there. So thank you, Madano1973, for the article. And it was good to see you at the Canadian, or not for the article, for the super chat. And it was good to see you at the Canadian National Exhibition the other day. That opened up on Friday. I think I'm still kind of a bit tired from that. Last night I went to Craft on Yonge Street. They have a phenomenal steak frites, by the way. Just an absolutely phenomenal steak frites. And then I went to a little shop next door and I picked up a bag of cookies and some gummies. And the cookies fucked me up pretty good. So I was going to have some edibles on this live stream, but I don't know if I really want to get into this again. I had some like pretty strong stuff last night. So I fucked up. I bought a case of I bought 2 cases of orange cream Coca-Cola thinking it was sugar-free because I bought a sugar-free version of the same thing, but this one has sugar. So let's just inject this diabetes into my veins. I got to drink it at some point. I think I'm going to give my other case away to a neighbor because I don't really want to have 2 full cases of that. But yeah, we're just going with the orange cream Coke, 140 calories, 39 grams of sugar. It's enough to kill a horse. Anyways, yeah, this is really just a liquid candy bar. It should not be any type of substitute for water. But cheers, everyone. But holy shit, it is really good. I think Coca-Cola knocked one out of the park with this flavor. Liam says, I'll come over. Chris G is here. I like that a lot of you guys use like an email address that's similar to your name. Makes it easy to figure out. Robert West Coast Walker is here. Lisa DeYoung says, slow clap. Glenn Cooney. Yeah, we can pull the article up. Yeah, it was an interesting article. The headline was kind of interesting. Some people messaged me about that. I was like, yeah, I wish that wasn't the headline. It's not wrong. It's at least true of last year, but I wish that wasn't the headline. It makes things seem a little different. But other than that, it was a cool article. Dude was very friendly and professional. They followed up and called me back to let me know when the article was going to go live. So it was pretty cool. Skywalking says, are you following the flight attendant strike? Yeah, they were ordered back to work and then they defied that order. I think the government dropped the ball. They played that card way, way too late in the game. And if you're going to force people to work, you have to give them like a bone in the meantime until negotiations are settled to at least give them something that they're looking for. Lisa says, why are you wearing your sunglasses? I don't know. Um, yeah, so my thoughts on that, I don't know. Air Canada is profitable. They've got super deep pockets these days. They're not paying or treating their flight attendants properly. And when they fail, the taxpayer just bails them out. Like, pay your fucking people industry standard at least. You're supposed to be like our flagship carrier for the country. Instead, you're cutting deals with WestJet to slice the country in two and keep your little duopoly going. So, yeah, I hope the flight attendants get something out of this. Air Canada is certainly a piece of shit organization for a lot of reasons. But at the same time, I really, really feel it for anyone who had travel plans, who booked travel before there was even rumblings of a strike, especially at the end of summer. Like, it's the last little window for a lot of people to go away. Just fucking people over, family vacations getting screwed, people getting hung out to dry, coming back. It's a shit situation all around, and it's going to cost Air Canada more than had they have just made a decent offer in the first place. I remember I was on an Air Canada plane during COVID, back when traveling was just a stupid gong show, and we were sitting on the tarmac in our plane for 3 hours. Randy Ruck, welcome to Stumbler. Randy Ruck, welcome to the ranks of Johnny Stumbles channel membership. Good to see you, Randy. I remember we were sitting on the plane for 3 hours because apparently they didn't have enough staff at the airport to process everyone. If you remember when they were doing this during COVID, we flew back from New York City and we literally just stood there. And I remember talking to the flight attendant next to me. She was just standing there. And I was like, well, at least you're getting paid for this, right? Probably overtime. And she was like, nope. As soon as we land, they stop paying us. Like, we're not getting paid for any of this. So the flight crew had to stay on the plane and literally do their job for 3 hours. And they didn't get paid. And they had to deal with, obviously, like, passengers that were pretty pissed off at the whole situation, how poorly run Pearson was at the time. Like, our flight was delayed out of New York. There was a thunderstorm. We got back. Now we're sitting on the tarmac for 3 fucking hours because you can't let us off because the airport's not equipped to process that many. Like, it was just stupid. And you're not even paying your flight attendants. Pay your flight attendants. Anyways, yeah, I don't know. I feel sorry for them. I feel sorry for the passengers. And I don't feel sorry for Air Canada. They can go fuck themselves. I still have a claim with them because they delayed or they canceled my flight to London, remember? And I got in there like 6 hours after I was supposed to, totally screwing me over. And they kept changing the reason for the flight being canceled. Then when I applied for compensation, they replied with a totally different reason than the one they gave us in the airport. So I filed my claim with Transport Canada. That one's been over a year. I think they have 18 months or something to get back to me. So I'll let you guys know how that turns out. But in my mind, they owe me a lot of money for that. And they owe everyone on that flight a lot of money for that. But yeah, they are pieces of horse shit. Mike T says, that seems like their union really screwed them when they negotiated that. Well, that was that was still an improvement over their last contract. But anyways, maybe we'll take the sunglasses off and I'll stare into the sun. Stephanie says, don't smash the glasses. I'm feeling feisty. All right, I won't. Brad Palmer, happy birthday yesterday, Brad Palmer. I hope you had a good one. But yeah, that's about it. What do you guys have? What were you guys up to this weekend? Did anyone get out to the CNE? I saw Medano there. Henry streamed all day there. I saw he had a bit of a tangle with the dingus. Sapand was there. Travel Fun 69 was there. Lizzo was there. I was in Lizzo's stream briefly. I said hi to Lizzo. I'm sure there were some other people as well. Lisa says, did stuff yesterday. Did absolutely nothing today. Yeah, welcome to the club. There was a festival in Little Manila today that I missed.
2019 Air Canada fucked up my luggage. Triumphant face emoji.
It's not showing me your full name. Justin Acriantor. I always say your name wrong, and you've corrected me on that 1,000 times. But thank you for the $2. 2019 Air Canada fucked up your luggage. What else is new? What else is new? Drew Costin says, but thank you for the super chat. Drew says, my wife and I have been sick in bed most of the last few days. Thankfully, you had walktubers to watch. Well, hopefully you guys are feeling better, Drew. Jennifer Gala just saw 3 tickets, one-way Paris to Montreal economy, $18,000. The other companies are taking advantage. Yeah, that unfortunately, just like Uber and Lyft surge pricing, they will do that. Harjot says it was nice meeting you at the Cine. Yes, Harjot, I met you and one of your friends there. Chris Mills saw the Jays crush Texas. Fortunately, did the Yankees win today? But I know the Red Sox lost. I think the Yankees won. But fortunately, the Jays took 2 out of 3. As long as they keep taking 2 out of 3, they're going to coast into first place or coast in first place throughout the remainder of the season. Ryan says, apparently out of 3 airlines in Canada, Porter is the least well paid, with starting being at like $26K. WestJet is also bad at $25K. Air Canada is like $30K. All airlines are bad in Canada. You don't hear too many complaints from Porter flight staff. And as a customer, I think Porter is hands down the best. It's also a lot smaller though, logistically, and they don't have the same kind of load that Air Canada and WestJet have. I don't know. I don't really know what I'm talking about. But those salaries seem sub minimum wage. So that, let's ask ChatGPT, how much does a Porter flight attendant make? Porter Airlines. Because that seems like a salary from 20 years ago. The average wage is about $28.86 per hour, with the range roughly from up to 43. Average annual salary about 30,000. Most salaries fall between 50 and 91,000. That sounds a little more reasonable. A mid-range hourly rate is 29 to 33, which seems reasonable for a flight attendant. To an annual salary of roughly 60 to 70,000, assuming full-time hours. Yeah, that sounds a lot more like it than 25 or 26,000, which you will make at Tim Hortons full-time. If they'll even hire you, because I don't know. Ron Hendricks, 2010, sent 10 Johnny Stumbles gift memberships. Brad Palmer, Matt Bross, El Cid, Andrew WWR, Lavillian Baylor, Chris Mills, John Barrientos, Brett Mallon, Mike Ward, Embedded SRAM, Uncle Buck. Welcome to membership. And Ron Hendricks, sorry, it's showing me your names all weird again. Thank you so much, Ron Hendricks, for 10 channel memberships to the Stumbles channel. Thank you so much. Lisa says memberships for this channel still seems weird to me. I got to start doing some stuff. I got to start putting out some videos for you guys. I almost wiped out, actually. That's a video I could maybe show you. On my bike coming home from the live stream I did from Mississauga. But thank you again, Ron Hendricks. Devin says they didn't want me as an air traffic controller. Something about me being too old and also smoking. I guess we got to wait for all these animations to stop playing. But thank you again. Lisa says, too bad it wasn't live. Would have earned you a super. I only wrote starting pay. Okay. What? Well, is the starting pay for a Porter flight attendant? There's no way it's $26K. Let's see. What does ChatGPT have to say? Starting entry-level flight attendants start around $29 per hour with a guarantee of at least 75 paid hours per month. So you can do the math. Total compensation annually based on your hours is 28 to 61K. Doesn't seem so bad or that low. Yeah, I wouldn't believe that Porter pays that shit. That would be all over the news. Lisa says 26K. Yeah, maybe like someone who works part-time, in which case that's to be expected. Uncle Buck has become a member. Uncle Buck, Also in on the memberships. Thank you, Uncle Buck. Douglas says, I don't understand. Is the airline business not very profitable? I think it's more or less Air Canada can't fail. It's too big to fail. They will absolutely get bailed out by us, the taxpayers. Kind of like the whole 2008 situation in the States where all those big banks knew they were lending out shitty subprime mortgages. They knew it could lead to a global recession, but they didn't care because they got bailed out by the taxpayers. Gertesh says Toronto Blue Jays lost. They did. Johnny, are you and I don't know who that is. Stephanie, who are you talking about? Billy T says AC is protected. Steve Nedward says hard to work for Air Canada if you don't speak French. You know, most of the flight attendants at Air Canada are from good to great. I don't really have any bad experiences with them other than when they screw me over horrendously by delaying my flight 6 hours. Digital Blade CA says, hey, Johnny, saw an article about you on CTV. Yeah, it was on CTV and CP24. We already talked about that a little bit. My phone was going nonstop all day. And I think the channel gained about 300 subscribers over the day. And views are kind of up and booming. Normally, I don't know if this is because of that, but I've had more views today than I did during the day I live streamed from the CNE, which is weird. Like, views are way up. So, hey, I guess this article actually made a difference because none of the other ones did anything. Math Doctor says, can I get your autograph, Johnny Stumbles? Yeah, sure, if you see me. I'm very inconsistent. I sign my name differently every single time. So, yeah, maybe I shouldn't be saying that, right? Someone will just steal my identity. But anyways, Phuket Walk says the title worked. Oh, yeah. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to be on a radio show. They're going to call me, I think, around 8:35, and I think he said it's going to be pre-taped, and the interview will be on air at around 8:55. Let me see. What's the radio station? I don't even know what it is. They just reached out to me. Okay, this will be live to tape to air back at 8:50 a.m. tomorrow. I should, providing I don't sleep in or say anything too bad, will be on Zoomer Radio. So if you know what Zoomer Radio is it AM 740? What channel station is Zoomer? I think it's Moses Znaimer. Zoomer Radio is AM 740. It also simulcasts on 96.7 FM in downtown Toronto to improve reception. So if you AM is horseshit quality. If you want to listen to it in much better quality, listen to it on 96.7. You can also stream it live through their website or on apps like TuneIn. Want me to also tell you what kind of music talk they play? Sure. Marge says, that's my oldies channel. Talk shows on health, money, lifestyle, and retirement issues. News and current affairs with a more old-school conversational feel. Specialty weekend shows, big band and swing, spiritual religious shows, old radio dramas from the golden age of radio. Yeah. All right. Well, that'll be fun. I'm just reading some of your... Douglas says, was I hesitant giving my real name? No, it's already on the... They spelled it wrong initially. It's already on... all over the internet, so it's not really a big deal. Johnny will be discussing Antiques Roadshow and his RRSP. What is that thing you flip your RRSP into? Is it like an FIP or something when you get to a certain age? You're like too old for the RRSP? Maybe we'll be talking about that. I don't know. Right up your alley, Johnny. Yeah, we'll talk about the local 5-pin bowling lane action. I don't know. RRIF. There we go. Whitby dude. RRIF. Speaking of RRSP, I tracked down a locked-in RRSP from my first ever job at TD. I have 5 years of vested pension. I'm trying to pull out of them and put into my own control so I can put it all into a Bitcoin ETF. Let's do that. That sounds like a good thing to do with our retirement money. Chris Mills says, no such thing as bad press. No. Independent Mind is here. Greetings, Independent Mind. But yeah, tomorrow morning, if you know what Zoomer Radio is, I don't even know what we're going to talk about. I think they reached out to me because they saw the article. I was also invited onto, I got to get back to this dude. He runs a podcast and it seems to be decently big. He wanted to have me on as a guest, so maybe I'll enter. Good morning. I recently came across an article about you and thought it was pretty cool. I think you leaving your job and becoming an entrepreneur ties in with today. Would you be interested in doing an episode with me on my podcast? Well, good sir. I will get back to you on that if you're watching. I might possibly do that. Sinasto says you'll have to pay a premium in taxes. No, I'm transferring it to a lira. I'm not withdrawing it. I'm transferring it from a locked-in account, wherever it is, into a lira. So it'll still be locked in. So no, I won't pay taxes. I won't have access. I'll only pay taxes if I withdraw it. But I'm still going to, put it in some vehicle that will probably lose most of its value. Jenny Krutzkamp says, Johnny Stumbles, Zoomer Radio is 92.3 up where I am. Will it be the same as the city? I don't know, Jenny. Probably. There's probably only one. But you can always go to the website too. Actually, that would probably be a good way for you to verify. If your 92.3 is the same as what's on the Zoomer Radio website, then you'll know they're the same. Our pension age is supposed to be rising to 70. That seems criminal. It should 65 seems kind of up there. Do you get paid for these appearances? No, I don't. Would I? It's mutually beneficial. Like, they get a guest, I get exposure. Like, it's just like when, I have Ken on my channel or I go on his channel. We don't make a deal to pay each other off or you get part of the revenue on this video or not. It's just, it is what it is, right? It's free PR. That's all it is. Although, I think sometimes in Hollywood, if a studio wants to promote a movie, they might pay a talk show to have the actor on or that type of thing. But anyways. Oh yeah, it's time for me to go green screen. Hey, you can see the chat on the screen. Good thing I accidentally didn't share something. What time is Johnny on the radio tomorrow? I think 8:50. We were just talking over DM though. So the guy's going to call me. I gave him my put this back on. I gave him my I always do this. I gave him my streaming phone number, not my real phone number. Just basic security stuff. There we go. Green screened up. Was it Andy Wilson? Who is Andy Wilson? Let me see. No, it was not Andy Wilson. It was Andrew Wilson. I'll have to correct you on that. Anyone sad tomorrow is Monday? I don't know. I'm not sad. I'm not sad at all. Johnny is still using Final Cut. I highly recommend picking up Apple Motion. No, I watched a whole video today on how Apple is like completely fucked as a company under Tim Cook. It was really interesting how they like totally dropped the ball with AI, and how under Steve Jobs, like every 2 years there was like a new product coming out, and how they always took an existing category and then sort of one-upped everything before it, like the iPod. They didn't invent the MP3 player, but the iPod sort of was king. Same thing with the iPhone. BlackBerry invented the smartphone, but they one-upped it. Apple actually invented the AI assistant in Siri, but then they didn't invest in AI at all. And now everyone is eating their lunch, and they are so far behind. They're actually renting servers from Google because they would rather buy back their own shares than invest in their own stuff. Pretty cheap stuff from the world's formerly most valuable company. Now it's way behind Microsoft and way behind Nvidia, and it's going to get passed by Google and a whole bunch of others soon, probably Palantir. Good job, Apple. Way to not innovate and just coast on your laurels with your same shitty designs over and over and over again. Anyways, think light bugs Johnny's eyes. It bugs me. That's one reason. I've got this thing lit up like a friggin' Christmas tree in here, so it is kind of nice to have the shades on, but we can try without. I don't know. Independent Mind says Tim Cook dropped the ball. Well, the problem is he's like a finance guy, right? Like Johnny Ive no longer had any say in anything, really. They pushed back on him a lot. I don't know. If the light is bad, put him on. Heat movie is coming in on TV. Oh, I watched the first hour of The Wolf of Wall Street. Ryan says, congrats, Johnny, though, on being featured on CP24 and Zoomer Radio. Thank you. Thank you very much. I worked hard for it. But why did I write Johnny Stumbles up there? Look at all that. Johnny's had a few spliffs. it's all good. Anyways. Oh, yeah, Zoomer Radio. Zoomer Radio AM 740. So this is it.
Yeah, what do you think?
Too late. I'm already downloading it.
Endless entertainment.
All right, that'll be, and if you're that'll be tomorrow. And if you're wondering what everyone's talking about with this article, I haven't even. Can we find it here? Oh, there it is, right on CP24. There is a horrible screenshot. Time to short Apple. I don't know about short it, but it's not as explosive as the other tech stocks, that's for sure. Finished perfect couple today. It was really good. But yeah, there's the article. I'll post a link to it. There's also again, I don't love the title of that. Eye roll. Like, I'm not saying that screenshot is better than your JS profile photo, but I'm not saying that. Drew says Apple will be fine in the long run. I wouldn't short them. Yeah, but they're no longer like a category innovator. And they're not really even like a software company. Like, they're just... And they're benefiting massively from U.S. protectionism. You know that thing Donald Trump accuses other countries of doing? The 4 biggest smartphone makers in the world outside of the U.S. are all banned from the U.S. Like Xiaomi, Huawei, and 2 others whose names are escaping me. So, yeah, Apple severely benefiting from that good old protectionism. Hey, there I am wearing Boom Productions jacket at the St. Patrick's Day parade. You know what I want to do? Let's throw this article, summarize this article in 5 bullet points. Let's see what ChatGPT has to say about that article. When I saw this, I thought my YouTube was glitching. Mine was blown. Great article too. Thank you. Here are 5 key takeaways from the CP24 article. Johnny Strides films daily walking tours around Toronto. His real name is Jonathan Hicks, a 44-year-old former insurance underwriter who pivoted to full-time content creation. His YouTube channel boasts over 136,000 subs and more than 46 million views. He now earns, quote unquote, well, I'm not saying I was misquoted on that, but I am saying that, you know, it's not what it seems. It's not that much over that amount. Well over. Shouldn't have been the choice of words. His success reflects broader economic trends in Toronto, where growing job instability, especially among young people, is pushing many towards unconventional income streams. You know, it wasn't any of that that pushed me to doing this. I just kind of fell really lucky into this, kind of ass backwards. I don't know. Chris Mills says all that could have been left out. I think they were just looking for that, like, economic angle, but, like, I don't know. Jennifer Gallus says, hope the CRA is not watching or reading the article. I don't care if they do. Everything I put in there is 100% accurate. Let them look at it. That's fine. That's fine. I've been shipping off giant installments to them regularly. YouTube is using my channel name and not my proper name. This is Michelle Gray. Oh, there we go. There's some, yeah, that it's doing that for some reason. It did that the last live stream as well. I don't know why, but that's what's going on. What's a good edible for women, Johnny? Mr. Experienced? Asked Stephanie Jackson. It's no different than a good edible for men. I'm not aware that there's a gender difference for, I'm sure that's a very individual thing. I don't even know why I entertain that question. This is for indica gummies. So Lisa says no such thing as a gendered gummy. Yeah. It's also individual to your experience. I don't think gender has a damn thing to do with how you're going to process THC. The best thing to do is just try them yourself and figure it out. I don't know. Douglas Blackwell says put money into a TFSA. That was my number one advice when someone, I think they said they were 26, and they asked if I could go back in time. What's the one thing I would do differently? And I said, fill up that TFSA. That's the first thing you should be doing. Unless you're self-employed and you can use your RSP to lower your income to get into a lower tax bracket, then do that. And then, but yeah, definitely put stuff in there. Save that up. Sapan says, happy birthday to your dad. Liam, happy birthday to your dad. Lisa says, blue raspberry pearls are my jam. Anyways, yeah, Jermaine Wilson, that's the dude who called me. He's pretty responsive too. Sent a lot of text messages. Whippy Dude says, hang on to the rent controlled apartment. You got that straight. It was really the apartment that let me go full time in the first place, right? Because I didn't know I was going to make enough to cover all my living expenses when I went full time. Or I didn't know I was going to make much more than that. But knowing that I had such a cheap apartment and knowing that I had a good amount of savings, it let me take that risk without really even being able to call it a risk. Buy Bitcoin when it was pennies. You could have bought it when it was tens of thousands and you would still be laughing right now. I'm still shocked that like 85% of you in my poll last week thinks cryptocurrency is like a scam. Yeah, 99% of it is penny stock shit. But Bitcoin, Ethereum, that's not penny stock shit. That's the real thing. That'll outperform your portfolio. Lisa says, can we not discuss Bitcoin? I didn't bring it up. That's the way this works. If someone brings it up, I discuss it. True North Transparency recently went full-time. I've met him before. True North Transparency. He does more of like the auditing thing, right? 53.7K. Some of his videos get a lot of traction. Are you trying to cause a problem here? Karens and Darren. Karens and Darrens? Okay, wish I didn't read that title. Drone use turns into police encounter. Strange little man almost attacks over public photography. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I'm not a fan of like putting a camera in someone's face. Like if you're there, cool. But if you're not drawing attention to yourself, I'm not going to go make you the center of attention in my video. So what I do is very, very different from this person. Like, I'll only go out of my way to record someone if they're causing a scene, if they're drawing attention to themselves, right? Because they're asking for it. But if it's just some dude doing their job, even if they're like a cop or whatever, I'm not going to stand there and point the camera at them. But yeah, he's got every right to do this though, right? No one has any right to tell him not to do that. But good for him for going full time. That's a hard thing to do. Who is this Jermaine Wilson? He's a super nice dude who's a writer for CP24, and that's about all I know of him. I remember when Twitch was bigger than YouTube, maybe for live streaming, but never as a platform. I don't think Twitch has even been remotely a fraction as big as YouTube. Has Twitch ever been as big as YouTube? There, I just asked. Nope, Twitch has never been as big as YouTube and probably never will be in terms of reach, but it is a giant in its own niche. YouTube gets over 2.5 billion monthly active users. Twitch, 140 to 160 million. That means that YouTube has a user base of 15 to 20 times larger. It's not even close. It's not even close. Tripod says, if I ask someone to not film me, they should have the respect to move the camera. I'm going to say it depends on the situation. Like if I'm set up at a parade and I was there first and you're opposite me in the parade and you ask me not to film you, I've got a finger in the middle of my hand for you. In fact, I've got one on each of my hands. But if like, you know, you're like, hey, I would appreciate not being on camera in any other situation, I'll say, cool, I'll do my best not to record you. If you're already in my video and I remember to, I'll take you out. I have no problem doing that. But like, if you're going to be obnoxious or unreasonable about it, like, fuck you. I have every right to record in public. And I'm not going to, it's like letting the person cutting you off in, right? Like, no, I'll speed up and hold down my horn and hold my finger up at you. Right? It's just, it's 100%. Lisa says delivery matters. Yeah, to me, maybe I'm petty, but like if you're nice, I'll be nice back. If you're a dick, I'll be a dick back. You know, I don't see the need to be nice to people that are assholes. They don't deserve it. But generally, yeah, it's like, but I don't go out of my way to record people. Unless they're drawing attention to themselves. But if I'm at an event like a parade and I'm just recording the parade and you're opposite of me, that's your problem. That's not my problem. And besides, you have to know there's got to be cameras there. Douglas says, I've seen Japanese streamers who blur faces. Yeah, that's fairly common over there. And my software actually has a feature that has face detect, and it'll try to blur. It doesn't work perfectly, but that could be an option one day if our laws get a little too dystopian. Caroline says there are so many live cameras in almost every city, it's hard not to be recorded. Yeah. Also, like, wear a hat and sunglasses and a fake mustache if you don't want to be on camera. Wear a mask if you're that. Like, there's no such thing as privacy when you're in public, right? That does not exist. Greetings, Yoshi, you're here. Everyone's saying hi. That's what Mr. Astronomer CEO is doing. Yeah, I don't know. That was a funny situation. Dash cams or create your own privacy. Yeah, definitely get dash cams. Janice says a bag over your head. Yeah, I don't know. There's been way, way less people taking offense to it and taking issue with cameras in public over the last 6 years that I've been doing this. There's now also, like, at any given time in Toronto, there's probably someone live walking around with a camera on a gimbal. Like, people are just so used to it, right, that I don't think it's a... Yeah, and we almost never hear of incidents happening like we used to. Like, every once in a while, someone would, like, really want to go at it with me or Ken over it. But that doesn't really... Like, it's just so common now. Like, you truly have to be mentally ill if you're taking issue with the camera, in which case I proactively avoid those situations. Anyways, it's enough of that topic. Ron Hendrick says dash cam saved you a few times. Yeah, I think a rear facing dash cam would be pretty popular. Stephanie says don't shove a camera in my face. Yeah, nobody should be shoving a camera in anyone's face unless you're calling out for attention, in which case you're asking for that. Johnny, did you say you had a near accident on your bike? I did. Let me find that clip. I recorded my ride home. Let's see, where is that? Toronto to Mississauga. Oh, that was Toronto to Mississauga. This one is Mississauga to Toronto. No. At some point on this ride, it's coming up. And I actually really hurt my wrist. I was biking. This is going east on St. Clair. And I was looking over my shoulder to check behind me, because that's what you should do every once in a while. And then when I looked forward, I saw a giant pothole. And I kind of panic braked. And I nearly wiped out. Where does it happen? It happens at some point. Anyways, we can chill until it happens. But I think it was pretty scary, actually. But the camera stabilizes it, so I don't think we're gonna see it. Here, I can turn that volume up. I don't think we're gonna see it all that. Pretty sure it was right here. Oh, there it is. I almost wiped out. Keep in mind, my camera is like over my shoulder. Then I looked forward and thought I saw. Here it comes. Oh, I almost wiped out. Yeah, it doesn't look like much, but like my wheels, both of them, like completely did that thing where your wheels kind of go in like an S shape, and like my right wrist like kind of locked up, and it jerked so hard it really hurt my wrist. I was like lifting weights yesterday and my wrist was still sore from this. But yeah, Lisa says no, you can tell it jerks forward. But see, when I looked forward, this is what I saw. I saw this pothole, and for some reason, because I was looking back, I looked forward, I saw that, and for some reason, I like locked my brakes way too hard. I was looking over my shoulder. Anyways, yeah. My fault. But that would have yeah, that could have been shitty, because there was like a car behind me, because I was looking over my shoulder because I wanted to turn left, because I was making a left turn here. And then my battery runs out like right around here. But anyways, I don't know what I'm going to do with that video. Maybe that'll be a Johnny Stumbles members exclusive. I appreciate how good the camera stabilizes things. I get motion sickness easy, so videos that don't do it aren't fun for me. Yours are always good. Thank you, Drew. I think I put stability at like the top of my list. When it comes to everything, I just can't do the like shaky ass video thing. Would a rear view mirror have helped? Probably, Douglas. Probably. Math Doctor says, so pizza party on Johnny when he hits 10K subscribers. Hopefully. Lisa says stability should be at the top of the list. Sapan says, I had corn dogs last night at the C&E for dinner. That doesn't sound too healthy, Sapan. Lisa says it's the difference between watchable and unwatchable. Pretty much. But What's going on in Blog TO? Has anyone been to the C&E Baskin Robbins? No. I had like ramen, like that hand-pulled ramen, and a clearly Canadian, as you saw in my video. Enormous $7 billion gigafactory coming to Ontario, and it's hiring. A sprawling gigafactory will soon begin construction in Ontario, and that means a huge influx of jobs for the small town set to host this record-breaking facility. The enormous new EV battery factory, which is preparing to break ground in St. Thomas, Ontario in the coming weeks, will be the largest of its kind in Canada and is shaping up to be a massive employment boost for the town of around 43,000 people. That's awesome. Some big industry coming. I've got a close eye on the graphene industry because graphene could be a groundbreaking material. There's also a battery recycling company that I have some shares in just because I think they're really onto something. Recycling cobalt and some of those rare earth metals. Jay says Johnny, T-Shots, and Henry probably. Yeah, maybe. I know T-Shots uses a very similar setup to me, at least from a software point of view. Her streams generally look pretty great. I push as like the highest bitrate it'll let me do it, but T-Shots look really, really good on the big screen. So does Henry. Everyone's does pretty good. At night is when they really start to fall apart, when they have the lower bitrate. But that's cool. Big employer coming. Swarms of invasive red and black bugs are taking over Ontario. Boo-hoo. Is there anything here? Yeah, I screwed up. There was a festival at Little Manila, and I didn't go today, unfortunately. Thoughts on the electric company stocks benefiting from AI? I don't know. That could be good. Remember, in the gold rush, the people who made the money were the people selling the picks and the shovels, right? Not the people mining for gold. There's going to be, like, we don't even know. The company that wins, like, the AI race might not even exist yet, right? It's still early days. It might just be a big bubble and it might all blow apart. It's kind of scary, but yeah, I think if utility companies are benefiting from it, that's probably where the smart money is. Just like selling the picks and shovels during the gold rush is where the smart money is. I don't know. Jeanette says, I missed eating some great lumpia. I have not had Filipino food in a while. Maybe I'll have to go to Casa Manila. It's been a while since I've been there. Your tomato finally ripened thanks to your little sister. Awesome. I didn't know this was a thing. I tried the 2025 CNE's Dinner in the Sky and ate eggplant parm 150 feet above Toronto. Would you guys do this? Drew says you personally suspect it's a bubble. Could be overbought right now. Who knows? Patrons are seated in swiveling chairs and fully strapped in before takeoff, although it's tough to move your arms around too much once you're secure. You do have the option of dangling your feet a little or off the little platform once you're up in the sky for an added thrill. So you're getting hoisted up into the sky. You have limited movement of your arms. And you're eating a meal. You get a view of the midway. What happens if you have to do a number 1 or number 2? Lisa says, what if you have to pee? No thanks. Yeah. Like, you're just going to comfortably sit there with your $500 meal having to relieve yourself. How awkward is that? That's I don't know. Sorry, Grandma. Don't have anything to drink on this. I don't know. Maybe there's got to be a time, right? You can't do that to people for more than like 40, 45 minutes. Like, yeah, we can all be adults. We can all go before we go up in the air. But even then, nature happens sometimes, right? Sometimes you go, and then 5 minutes later, you got to go again. Lisa says facing away from the tower would be ridiculous. I think it's $150 to $1,000. I think I read that. depending on what you're eating. I don't know. How much is, let's ask. The C&E's dinner in the sky, according to ChatGPT 5, is entry-level cocktail hour. Starts at 110 per person. Includes drinks only, no meal. Light grazing, 240 per person. Features an assortment of cured meats, cheeses, vegetables, and local accompaniments. So for $240, you can have some charcuterie in the sky. Full experience, multi-course tasting menu, $315 per person during the daytime, $345 per person during sunset. For that money, you could go to like an actual Michelin star or a restaurant in Toronto and have their tasting menu. That's kind of that's just for people who have always dreamed of having that experience or just have way too much money. It's cool, but it's like at least 3 times too much, if you ask me. Lisa says, do you know what kind of damage you could do at a real resto? I don't know what that's reference to. You get to pee on the simps below. I would pay extra for that. Yeah, what could they really do, right? If nature called, who's liable there? What the Toronto Eaton Centre looked like when it was under construction. That is a view south. There is where Saks Fifth Avenue and the Bay used to be, I believe. That building is looking... Oh, no, that's this building over here. This is the old Eaton's building. That building was torn down. And it reappeared on the other side of the mall, and it later became a Sears. Commerce Court West. Neat views. There's the familiar looking old facade. That's kind of neat, I guess. See some old pics. Whippy Dude says you'd be better going to Barbarians for that money. You know what? I went to Kraft last night. Kraft at near Adelaide and Yonge. And the steak frites was phenomenal. I upgraded my steak to the 8 ounce instead of the 6 ounce. But it was like really good. And it was like $33 for like... You're always rolling the dice on steak frites, right? Sometimes it comes with some like weird sauce on it. Sometimes it's clearly not that good cut or not that good of a cut of meat. But this was like better than the steak at the Keg for less. Lisa says that place is a lunch place at best for me. Yeah, they got a lot of like sliders and like tacos and that type of thing. But it was a really, really good steak. I wish I had a picture of it. It was a sirloin. What else do we have? U.S. Tourist gives Toronto rave review, and here's what they loved. So a guy went on Reddit and left a very positive post about Toronto, and BlogTO turns it into an article. All right. They're having a slower news day at BlogTO than CP24 was, I guess. Drew Costin says, I'm definitely going to have to try that out. Yes, go to Kraft and have the steak frites. Barbarians is overrated? I don't think so. I think it holds its own with like Morton's and Harbor 60, all of the big steakhouses. Barbarians, and they've got a better atmosphere. Like you actually feel like you're in a proper stuffy old steakhouse. I think Barbarians is like a 10 out of 10 experience. Ron Hendricks says Bears 14, Bills 0. Apparently my fantasy football league is firing up again. Whole Foods in Toronto. Yeah, the Whole Foods at Leaside. I always thought that was a weird location. It's like Broadway and Bayview Avenue, like around there. The Leaside Whole Foods is closing, and they have 50% off everything store-wide. And the one at Yonge and Shepherd is closing. There's still one in Yorkville, a very weird Whole Foods. Like it's not very Whole Foods-like in terms of like its size and everything. But 2 Toronto locations are closing, and apparently they're opening a new one. I think Farm Boy has kind of beat them at their own game in that regard. Whole Food, yeah, there we go. Whole Foods reveals it's opening a new store in Toronto amid closure of 2 others. Johnny, do you like watching college football? I can't say I do, to be honest with you. I can't say I do. They're opening one on King West. There we go. Beloved Toronto business shuts down with special city recognition after 30 years. Owners of Rula and Thomas Hair Salon are hanging up their shears after more than 3 decades. After opening their doors to the Beaches neighborhood. Well, thank you for calling it the Beaches neighborhood. How an immersive Haribo experience in Toronto supports sick kids. That's neat. Haribo. That's a very smart company. They make their gummies like locally in most parts of the world. So they make products that are like, I don't know. They make like chocolate covered Haribos in Germany, I think. They don't make them anywhere else. You mean Broadway? Yes, Broadway. Did I say Broadview? I think I meant Broadway. Broadway and Bayview, I think is where that one is. Carl Roth. Good evening, Carl Roth. Let's see what Reddit has to say. Looks like Spidey has relocated. Is this the dude that's always like... Is this the same dude? I don't know if that's the normal Spidey always hanging out in Toronto. Jay says $18 for a corn dog with cereal. Welcome to 2025. A grade 12 Etobicoke student earned a perfect 100% average last year. Here's how she did it. It is physically impossible to get 100 in physical education. I know someone who was like the biggest math nerd in the history of time, and they got a perfect 100 in all of their classes, including gym, and I was in their gym class, and this person clearly was just given 100 in gym by their gym teacher because somebody told them to give them 100. They were not 100 in gym. That's not one class where you can just show up and get 100. But they were legitimately perfect and everything else. But hey, good for this girl. Bishop Allen Academy, Sophie, I'm not going to butcher your last name, has a 100% grade average. May you go on to tell AI to do many great things on your behalf. How much is a hot dog at the Rogers Center? I don't know, but I don't even know what the Rogers Center is. Do you mean Skydome? Filming downtown on Bay Street. This looks like old-timey American something or other. Oh, I think this is the Boys spinoff they're filming. I know Amazon does a lot of that stuff in Toronto. Roncesvalles picture. They look good. That was filmed Toronto Shutter Moose. Muse. Inside the Ford government, there was worry the Ontario Place Spa was high risk. They signed a 95-year lease anyway. Stephanie still calls it the Skydome. Yeah. This is on for some. Why would somebody put this on Reddit? I don't know. I don't think this is Reddit worthy. How this Toronto man built a career touring the GTA on camera. That guy puts in the work. He has a ton of content, and a lot of people around the world like his street level views of Toronto. It's a bit like being able to visit for those who don't have the time or money to do so. Thank you, Euler Identity. Pretty cool reading a lot of these comments. Lisa says, I didn't, but there was no event, right? There was no like thing that happened to trigger this. He's very knowledgeable about the history and current issues of the communities he walks or cycles through. I appreciate how he calls out bad drivers and bikers. He does that, but also takes creepy, perverted pics of women or does upskirt shots of women. I am 99% sure that if this were true, those videos would be taken down in violation, and I would have a lot less subscribers than I do and viewers. And I would not blame you at all for leaving the channel if I did those things. This person is what we call a fucking idiot. That's all. I've never seen those shot. Yeah, I deliberately avoid those situations, right? Like I deliberately not follow somebody in a short skirt up a set of stairs. Like I go out of my way to avoid that. But thanks for, calling me out on that. And I don't take pictures. I make videos. Ugh. Anyways, there's always going to be some idiot. But yeah, a lot of good comments. We'll leave it at that. Some stupid comments as well, but there's a lot of stupid people in society too, right? Hey, I'm one of them sometimes. There's a nice shot of Toronto. It's crazy to me how the South Core district is kind of like taking over the financial district towers. Someone just sent me a message saying, don't take that so personally. It's not fun if I can't roast someone. Did Mother Stride see the article? Probably. Does anyone still buy from Country Style or Coffee Time? Vehicle explodes on Gardner at Ellis. That is crazy. Walking home from Shakespeare in Hyde Park and just came across this. That is crazy. Hopefully they got out of there okay. Hopefully that's not like an EV and that's a battery fire. North York condo penthouse boasts dazzling views of absolutely nothing. Move over Burj Khalifa. You've got to check out this just listed North York penthouse condo with breathtaking views of nothing whatsoever. Oh, this is a Beaverton article. Huh. Here I am thinking it was an actual article. Is this it? Anything interesting? How do you guys cope with your weekend traffic? Boy fatally shot. This is horrifying. This little boy was just asleep in his bed and was hit by a stray bullet. Like, I'm not saying we should bring back the guillotine, but I would totally be all for it for whoever fired that trigger. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, let's just move off of that. But yeah, that is sad. That is just beyond sad. 401 brake check. Please be aware. This is Toronto driving. This is where we go to get triggered and watch videos of bad drivers. It can be therapeutic. What? Are they doing that in like a company truck too? Vilv dash. And they braked. Yes, defensive driving. Get the hell out of their way. Move over. That guy had. They probably had some kind of beef earlier, right? Like this driver must have taken exception to this person to do that. But. And they've got a company. That's probably, unfortunately, someone who owns that business. Yeah, get the hell away from that guy. That is nuts. Okay, look at the truck. 4 lanes over. No signaling. Comes right in and then brakes. And can barely hold his lane. That is awful. That is truly awful. No doxing. Do not post this person's name or link their Facebook. Those comments will be removed. Curious, is there a reason not to when they're on video committing a crime? Because mob justice is still wrong, even if... Yeah, but this business deserves to be named and shamed, right? Yeah, let the police deal with the individual. Hopefully they do with that evidence, but name and shame that business. I don't care. Their Google reviews are probably already bombed. Maniac on the DVP. This could be good. We got a maniac on the Don Valley Parkway. This person in an Audi. Whoa. Okay, you deserve to permanently lose your driver's license for that alone. Whoa, splitting lanes? Whoa! They literally just endangered the lives of like a dozen people. That is ridiculous. Getting your driver's license is way too easy now. ASM89Z. No, that is not doxing because your driver's license is public. Lisa says they'll die at some point, and nobody should be sad about that, except I guess their loved ones. The problem is they might take someone out with them, right? Or they might damage someone else's property. I've seen some stupid shit, but this guy might take the cake. Most just do one stupid thing. This is a never-ending stream of stupid things. It's a Quebec plate, and this driving aligns with stolen vehicles since that's a big problem there. If you stole a vehicle, why would you drive in a way that draws attention to yourself, right? Why would you do that? Why would you be begging the police to like pull you over if they see you? Encountered extreme speeding, reckless driving on the 403 today. 2025 BMW M5. Does OPP do anything with this? Apparently the OPP are pretty decent if you report stuff to them. I think it's the Toronto cops that won't do shit. Gives a whole new meaning to drive it like you stole it. Whoa. And they crossed the double solid line into the HOV. Yeah, there's a special place in hell for that person. This person was easily doing 200 kilometers an hour. I felt the car shake when the car passed us from the right side, the license plate. I don't know, man. That's ridiculous. I can only watch a few more of these. Gets the blood boiling. This one says, learn to F drive. I think we all know what that F stands for. Hey, this looks like the Stockyards, right? St. Clair? Whoa! Why are we backing up? Why are you backing up for this asshole? Hold down your horn and your middle finger. Give them a nice long stare. Shake your head and keep moving. Don't roll backwards to let them in. Okay, that was fine. Yeah, and they had a stop sign there, too, and they rolled right through it if you watch. That is fucking terrible. WRX Matt says there's a whole bunch of TikTokers that cut through traffic like that and record it. Do the police do anything about that? I guess not if they're doing that. Driving the wrong way. This one could be good. Why are we moving? You know what I do in this situation? This has happened to me once. And here's the correct way to handle this situation. You come across someone doing this. They've crossed the line. Here's what you do. You stop. And you do not move out of their way. And you block them. That's what you do. And you do not move. Lisa says stop. You stop. Exactly. I do that in parking lots, but I've only ever done that on the road once because like, fuck off. You did not make a mistake, person in the white Acura. You did not make an innocent mistake. You did something malicious and selfish. That is ridiculous. That is repulsive behavior. Like, holy shit. The roads are the Wild West. I don't know. Is there anything else here? I think there was one of I think someone sent me one of a truck. They almost hit the median. Unsupervised dog. I don't want to see that. Keeps merging into me. Another moron. Missed me by a hair. Tow trucks. There was like a truck that just Oh, something. I don't know if you want to see this. This one, full video. This one is awful.
Accident on Florida's Turnpike involved a tractor trailer driven by a 20 official use only area.
This tractor.
The fatal crash occurred on August 12th.
Look at this guy pulling a U-turn in the highway, and then that minivan took out 3 people.
an illegal U-turn in a restricted, official use only area. The fatal crash occurred on August 12th.
Look at that. The people in this minivan had absolutely no chance of surviving.
Near the one.
That is, I don't know. That was all over the news, actually. That one went viral. You guys probably have seen that. There's like multiple videos on that, but no reaction. Honestly, I think his reaction was probably shock, right? Like, it looked like no reaction, but I think he was like just in pure shock over what he did. General Zod pass, who I don't know who that is. I've done that a few times, not gonna lie. People drive either too safe and slow. You've done what a few times? He's used to, yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna make those comments. Math doctors, it's just sad. That's all it is. People, please stop on red before right turn. This is one of my biggest pet peeves. I just posted a YouTube short that got a lot of views of people not doing this. So this person just got honked at. I don't know if you guys heard that, but this person got honked at for turning right. And they did a what the hell gesture. You have to come to a complete stop on a red light. That's at the stockyards, it looks like. Or near there. Where are we? Somewhere. Mark Sang says that accident with the tractor trailer happened near me here in Florida and it killed 3 people. Yeah, that was in my YouTube feed. I don't know why I wanted to show that. That was some really, really sad shit. We'll watch one more bad Toronto driver. One more. She's not sure where she's going, but it's through a red. All right. Huh? So she's indicating to turn left. And then just go straight through a red light at a construction site. Well done. All right. Anyways. Anyways, just be safe. Don't drive like a fucking asshole. And that's all. Or ride your bike like one. I don't know. What time is it? It is 9:16. What do you guys want to do? Do you want to play City Guesser or you know what? I posted this. I haven't gone through my comments on this. 35 comments on my article. Rome with Sign says, congrats, Johnny. You're awesome. Thank you, Rome with Sign. Jennifer Gala, congrats, Johnny. You are the best walk channel in Toronto. High quality content. Jennifer, I can't keep reading this. You're too kind. Very cool that you included your St. Patrick's Day photo in a snow video. Well, I didn't do that. They did that, but thank you. Congrats, Johnny. Love your channel. Thank you for everything. Oh, there's nothing spicy in here. You're the best live YouTuber covering not only Toronto, and I'm following your... Thank you. This is getting a little lame, like me patting myself on the back. Let me just heart these comments. I'm looking for something juicy. People are too kind. Throw some darts at me. I like it when they do that. Kudos, Johnny. You always go the extra mile with your content. Thank you. Lisa, oddly proud of you, which is weird, but whatever, comma. You're all right, I guess. This would have made it a little nicer if you did you're all right, comma, I guess. That extra pause there. Cheers, Johnny. Thank you, Medano. Headless Chicken, thank you. Phuket Walk, thank you, Alex. Just read it. Congrats. Thank you, Harjot. K-Man. You look way younger of 44. Thank you. Came up on my Google feed. Yeah, I don't know what CP24 does, but this thing has been on like everyone's feed. You make 6K. Do I? What are 6Ks? Congrats, JS. I saw it while browsing the CP24 app on my phone and was like, wow, thank you. I guess I'll heart that. I hearted all the other ones. Lisa says the comments on your Queen East video are more interesting. Okay, we can take a look at that. Desolate by Design. This video was actually, I want to give credit to where credit's due. There are parts of Toronto that just feel off. You're walking through what should be a lively main street, but instead it's quiet. This is something I've talked about a lot on my channel, like these dead zones on the east side of downtown. Like, yeah, there's Cabbagetown, there's St. Lawrence neighborhood, the Village. There's like lively parts, but there's some really dead pockets on the east side of downtown. And really the culprit is really, really outdated zoning restrictions that kind of don't motivate the city to rezone because they're still collecting money off of a lot of vacant properties. But anyways, yeah, so I decided to pay that part of Queen Street East a visit. It's been a while since I walked all of Queen Street East anyways. But yeah, I linked to his channel and his video. Thank you, Eric D. Realtor, for the inspiration. But we can see the comments on this. As Lisa said, they're juicier. Let's see some. Where are the comments? Here we go. 34 comments. I guess we got to scroll down all of these suggested videos to get there. You made the news. Saw you on CP24. Proud of you. Keep doing what you do. My granny and I loved watching you cover your roots. All right. Thanks. Hey, man. Saw your news story on CTV and came on over to subscribe. Thank you. Lisa said more interesting, not juicier. Aw. Congrats, Johnny, on your CP24 article right on the front page of my iPad news. Been around since your first year. Thank you, Tripod. Bless Sunday morning, everyone, and hello. Thank you. When I was in my 20s, back in the 80s, my Sundays would be on a walk from Sunnyside to the beaches along Queen, and then on my way back, I walk along King to Sunnyside. I'm not sure why, but I found this relaxing and therapeutic. Glad you did. Maybe drop a comma or period in there sometime. But hey, cool. Queen and Sherbourne has nothing on Dundas and Sherbourne. I don't know. They're kind of two birds of the same feather. Hopefully Moss Park Station will encourage some development. There's already that building at the 16-minute mark, which is also supposed to have a grocery store. I'll like your comment, but I'll disagree. I think Dundas and Sherbourne and Queen and Sherbourne are part of the same thing pretty much. Another nice walk around the city. East Queen Street looks like a really lively area to me. Thanks again. Really lively area. Maybe the first few blocks off of Yonge. And maybe the last few blocks. Good morning, says Jacqueline. Can't believe the Ontario line wiped out the entire block on the side of the street in Moss Park. Well-informed commentary. Whitby dude. No, it didn't. That was always Moss Park. There's not much there to begin with. I think once construction is complete, only the corner will be taken up by the station. The rest of it will probably still be frontage for... Yeah, there we go. Thank you, Canadian Chaos. He clarified that. I always scroll through my phone to check out the news of the day when I wake up enough to pull myself out of bed. I was on the CP24 news site and a familiar face popped up. Neat. Thank you, Gray, for it. Nice you're walking through, but there's also quite a bit of nonsense here. We found some juicy. I'm typing this from my historic Queen Street East loft. While the area was indeed neglected for a long time, it is not a dead zone. There are many developments right on Queen, also up Parliament, including new condo buildings, the new subway station with community center and pool, and some great old buildings that are used for movies constantly. Our own building has been used many times. Did you not see the dozens and dozens of vacant storefronts? There are also more interesting people living here than in many of the more streamlined and clonal parts of Toronto. Okay. Access to discount and ethnic shopping up Parliament. That's good old Toronto. Community centers, parks, areas like Cabbagetown, the Distillery, and Canary districts. King Street East, Lawrence, even the new Donlands is excellent. Yeah, I'm not... Crime rates to which you allude to are actually much higher in numerous more attractive parts of downtown Toronto or suburban areas of Etobicoke and Scarborough. I believe Moss Park has the highest crime rate in downtown. Park have the highest crime rate in? I think you're actually, not that it's bad, but I think you're actually wrong on that. I sense a bad attitude towards soup kitchens and shelters for the homeless and for affordable housing, where no doubt the city can do more to spread the burden across the city rather than concentrate it in certain areas. No disagreement from me on that second part. I have lived in this area for over 20 years and I've never felt unsafe. Yes, it still has much potential, but keep watching. Love my area. According to police data, Moss Park recorded 933 incidents in 2024, making it the 5th highest among all neighborhoods in the city, with downtown Yonge East ranking at 978. Downtown Yonge East leads with 705. So it's the 2nd highest crime rate in downtown. Not that I'm going to get into that with him. I think the video speaks for itself. Just look at the foot traffic. In my opinion, there are small hotspots on Queen Street East that are lively, but those hotspots are scattered. There you go. Not sure the nonsense. You can feel the vibe immediately, even through the YouTube video walkthrough, let alone if anyone visits in person. It's obvious why land values are lower. Yeah. As others have... No. The video... I mentioned there is more development and retail activity just to the south of Queen Street East. This video was just to highlight how truly dead things are on Queen East between, I would say, Jarvis and Parliament. We can agree to disagree on some things, but you cannot say that stretch of Queen Street East is by any means lively. There we go. That was my point. I don't like condos because I hate it when they interfere with small businesses. We need housing. We need to build housing. I don't like it when condos replace small businesses with more expensive storefronts, and then we lose unique retailers and we get these generic corporate retailers in their place. I don't like that at all. But we need housing. We need to build it. It is what it is. Johnny, Queen Street East has always been that way. In fact, I'm old enough to remember when Queen Street West was pretty drab before the art crowd moved in and made it hip. Fair comment. Johnny, I agree. The city of Toronto is missing a cash cow. Time at Toronto to add speed cameras. In the small city of Guelph, they netted over 100,000 in tickets during a short period of time, as per the Guelph Today reporter who cited City Hall. Oh, that's because, some idiot ran a stop sign right in front of me on this video. Tuck shop. Haven't heard that word in a while. Tuck shop, usually it's just like a convenience store within an apartment complex, right? That's pretty much the only time you ever use the term tuck shop. Everyone is on vacation, not on the east side of downtown. It's like that year round. This person says hi. The area north of Queen Street East has been subject to generational welfare since the 50s. The major cause of why no one really wants to buy there are developers, and developers don't want to build there. I think Eric's video kind of hits on that better. There's been other parts, like if you look at like Jarvis and Dundas, same thing there, yet developers aren't holding back from building there. It's really the zoning that's doing it. There's no part of the city of Toronto that's so bad that developers don't want to develop, right? Sometimes developers are required to build one affordable housing unit for every 3 constructed, and they gladly do that when that's required. I'm not going to debate this person. You and Ken should put together a compilation of all the shitty drivers and send it to the city. Someone said the worst part is Dundas and Sherbourne. And you know what is like a block away from that intersection? Shiny new condos. Fillmore's Hotel. Guess what that's going to be? Lol, any company building downtown has to be a deep-pocketed developer. East Queen Street is not as busy and dynamic as West Queen Street because it is dodgy. I have not been to this area for 2 years. It's now more dead than before. Just now discovered the channel via CP24. I've been walking for free all this time. When can I join? LOL. Lol. Johnny does a lot of research too. He'll tell you about the history of specific buildings or areas as he walks by them. He knows the city and surrounding areas very well. I sometimes do research. Usually what I do is I try to find a few talking points for each video. I just try to remember a few facts about a building or the area, this or that, just so I have something to say. And then whatever else I remember comes to mind. I don't have like a script I follow or anything. Sometimes like my memory just sucks. Maybe it was from getting COVID 10 million times, but sometimes I just draw blanks and I walk right by a building and I know exactly what it is and I know all about its history and I got nothing. And I just walk right by it like it was not even there because my brain did not pull the necessary info up. Oh, well. The entire city is quiet compared to real cities around the world. Toronto is not a city. It is small, quiet communities living peacefully. That was and will always be Toronto's only priority, as it clearly shows. And you clearly have never stepped foot into the city or watched 3 seconds of any of my other videos or even the start of this one. And we'll give a little eye roll emoji on that one. Hey, that person made the same comment on another video of yours. The lineup of streetcars is never-ending TO embarrassment. You're not wrong. And businesses will claim adding bike lanes and bus lanes destroys business. They will. Getting fascist vibes. You like rules, eh, Johnny? I don't think you know what that word means. ... Eye roll. Anyways, yeah. That's enough fun for tonight, folks. What I'll do is next Sunday, I'll try to get into these edibles that I bought if I haven't already gotten into them. We'll take some viewer calls. We'll take the week off from viewer calls, but we'll be back with viewer calls next Sunday. I'll try to come up with some new things for the stream. Rap battle. We haven't done a rap battle in a while, but there were too many people trolling the Jackbox games. But huge thanks to Ron Hendricks for gifting 10 memberships to this channel. Thank you so much for that. Ron, welcome to membership to our 10 new members. Thank you to our mods, Patreon supporters, channel supporters, and everyone who watched. Huge thanks to everyone as well for your kind words about the CP24 article. A little bit embarrassing. It is what it is, but thank you. And Zoomer Radio tomorrow morning around 8:55 a.m. or 8:50 a.m. There may be yours truly. It might not happen. I might sleep in. This guy might not call me. I don't want to commit. It's kind of very informal how we communicated, but Math Doctor says 8:50 a.m. 7:40. Harold Reynolds says we got our car repaired and we're good to go home. Thank you for the update on that. Yes, the Reynolds family was out in the East Coast and they had to take their car into a crappy tire because otherwise they would have been stranded. But thanks for the update, Harold Reynolds. We look forward to some of your jokes next week. But yeah, we'll be back next week. And then the next week after that, and after that, and after that. But thanks so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Yoink. Hasta la vista, baby. And we're back. Just like that, we are back. I got a super chat. Reguito 296. Have I done a video on Scarlet Road? You know what? I already signed off, but we're back. Thank you, Reguito. I've driven down Scarlet Road in a video. I think a Toronto Midtown to Etobicoke driving video. I haven't done a walking or bike riding video down Scarlet Road, part of Scarlet Road, but I've driven down Scarlet Road in a video. But thank you, Reguito. I really mean it this time. Have a good night, guys. Thank you.